Hello, everybody. Graham Cope with another My Music. Today, I'm going to be speaking music with Gramercy Arms, my guest over here. But first, we will be watching this from Analog Trash. Please do go and fill your boots afterwards. Are you going to, Dave? Maybe. Dave Derby from Gramercy Arms. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Can't complain. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Tell everyone a little bit about you. Where are you coming from?
I am coming from New York City, across the pond in the United States.
Yeah, very nice too. And is the weather nice there today? Or
It's been a little bit strange. It's sunny. It's chilly. We've had kind of up and down warm weather, and it's reverting back to being cold, but mostly good.
We are going to be talking about the making of. We're going to be talking about your new album, etc. But it is New Music Friday. Well, it is when we're recording this. You might be listening to this at any time of the week, folks. But so do apologise for that. But indulge with us for a minute or two. Given that it's New Music Friday, do you get excited for still when it is Friday and new stuff comes out and you can get your hands on stuff that you know as a music fan?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially when it's it's when they're releases by people I know and artists that I love. Bandcamp Fridays are cool. That's something I try to support. I don't think today's Bandcamp Friday.
I don't know. No, it's once in. It's I can never work out the frequency of it.
Yeah, once a month. I have to look at social media to remind me.
It's once a month, but it remembering which Friday of the month it is, because the week just seems to go like, or the weeks just seem to go like that.
Yeah,
is the difficult bit. I almost think that what they need to do is they need to build a countdown on the app or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
great idea for people like us.
And for people like us to go, oh, it's 30 days to go. Oh, be like Christmas. We'll all be like, like when you've got kids and it's like, and you tell them it's a month before Christmas, and then literally start counting down.
Yeah.
And then they put that thing with Santa Claus on the TV traveling around the world, and the excitement gets more and more. That's what we need for Bandcamp Friday.
100%.
For anyone that doesn't know, by the way, Bandcamp Friday is where I get this right. That 100% of the profits go directly to the artists themselves, rather than the platform.
Yeah,
can't lose.
Yeah,
and also a lot of people do really silly offers on Bandcamp Friday. Fantastic offers. So have you ever done an offer yourself on?
No, now that you're saying this, I guess I have to.
Yeah,
I got to get on that.
I'll give you a little example. I got this wonderful album by Sack, Butterfly Effect, for like £5.
Oh wow!
And it's a double vinyl.
Wow!
I know. I know.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, well, one, I'm going to pay attention to it. Two, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, I think it was fine. It was £5 or £10, but for a double vinyl, it was absolutely ridiculous. What have you got into music-wise yourself? Before we talk about your music, what have you got into music-wise yourself lately?
Oh, well, very lately. I don't know why. I've gone on this strange kind of rabbit hole venture into the early Bob Seger music before he was the Bob Seger system stuff that was kind of garagey and not at all what you would think of. I mean, if you know it, it's actually pretty cool. It's like really heavy late 60s stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just, I mean, Other than that, I mean,
do you think Bruce Springsteen dived into that a lot before? Because he did a Bob Seger covers album, didn't he?
oh yeah, I mean, he might have. It's funny, I have friends who are from Michigan, and they say that, very much Bob Seger is to Michigan what Bruce Springsteen is to Jersey or the kind of New York area. It's kind of like the rootsy guy who was making music about, everyday people. And so I think they're kind of kindred spirits. I wouldn't be surprised.
That kind of, name checking particular, bars and hangouts and garages and, all of that sort of thing. It's almost like having a travel log of an area, but in music, which I love.
I've also been it's funny, I just like asking me about new music. Gosh, now I gotta see what it is. So I was kind of I've been going down a kind of indie folk rabbit hole. This is sort of modern indie folk, and somehow I'm only now catching up with the Furrow Collective.
Really?
UK group. Enjoying them.
I love that. Do you know, are you the kind of person a bit like me that once you really find something that sticks out, you then just go and buy or listen to absolutely everything by that person?
Yep going down that rabbit hole now. I'm loving it. It's cool. I
really enjoy it. I remember like I don't know why I was so late to the party, but I suddenly discovered Yola Tango, and I was like, where's this been all my life?
Well, that's a nice thing to
it's a nice problem to have, isn't it?
Exactly, to revisit those things. I went and then the other night I went to, I've been listening to all different kinds of things. My daughter is away at university, so I don't have the Gen Z connection as much with her. Like every now and then she'll post something that she's listening to, but it's through her that it sounds like such a lame thing, but I wouldn't have even really, I would have known who Frank Ocean was, but I wouldn't have been like as deep a fan as I am. But it's just things like that. But I just saw a friend of mine play the other night, a guy named Franklin Bruno. He used to have a group called Nothing Painted Blue, and he played some really old songs. And I was like, wow, now I have to go down the rabbit hole of his old music, which I used to listen to back in the 90s. I had the cassettes and, forgotten about them. They're not digitized, so I kind of had to go back in. But constantly digging into old and new things. And,
do you do the thing where you read around it as well? I quite enjoy, obviously these days we've got YouTube and stuff as well, and I quite enjoy watching some YouTube people like Stephen Wilson or really great producers who sort of explore their record collection and pull things out and talk about the kind of genealogy. I love all of that. But do you, if someone's like written a book or something as well, do you go that route as well? I quite enjoy sitting there reading an autobiography, and as they're mentioning like different periods, listening to that album.
For sure. I have a stack of books I need to read. I have a like one of them is one that's on the top, toward the top of my stack, is the Leon Russell book that Bill Janowitz from Buffalo Tom wrote, and he's an old friend of mine. And I keep telling it. Other people are reading his book, and people should. I recommend it. But I plan to do it soon.
There you go. Well, now you've been on here and you've said it, it will kind of manifest itself a little bit more.
I hope so. You've said it aloud.
Because you'll see. Maybe I should just post the clip on social media of you saying that, and then actually you'll just keep seeing it and go, "I am going to read that book. I am going to read that book." I've got it. I've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole recently of on Bandcamp. Mentioning Bandcamp again, I found the record label, Jazz Room Records. Have you ever come across Jazz Room Records? Fantastic.
Jazz Root, is that what you said?
Jazz Room.
Oh, okay.
It's a record
On that
label releasing older jazz records, but re-releasing them on
Very
vinyl,
cool.
etc. Yeah, for like the second time around. So this one, for example,
Very nice.
which is Colorico del Tambo. I'm probably saying that completely wrong, but originally recorded 1981, re-released in 2023. Some of them that I've been listening to are from the date I was born, 1971.
Wow, very nice. Another kind of source of inspiration that takes me down different rabbit holes is I go down the kind of YouTube musician rabbit hole of like people showing different guitar things or music theory things, and I've just gone down a Bert Jansch rabbit hole just as a result. I mean, I always liked his music, but
yeah,
and a Paul Brady rabbit hole too. So those are kind of
Paul Brady.
Yeah.
Oh,
which
my
is
word.
just in time for St. Patrick's Day.
I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think of the Paul Brady album that was really quite big commercial album, but sort of the same sort of time as Chris Rea was out with sort of his Let's Dance sort of thing. I'll try and remember it, but
Yeah,
I loved that album to death.
He's so great.
Yeah, such a great voice.
Oh yeah, incredible. And the guy I can't remember his name right now. The guy who often duetted with him, who played that really, I don't even know what it's called, but that really high strung kind of Irish mandolin thing. It's incredible. There's a great recording from the early 70s of they're doing Lakes of Pontchartrain, and it's it's incredible. It's so good. Yeah, there's so much music. It's crazy.
There is so much music, like people like Paul Brady. Bruce Cockburn was another one. I don't know whether you ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But our people like that are kind of like unsung heroes of singer-songwriter material. Do you know what I mean? They've written huge volumes of music,
right?
Quality music. Never really managed to make it in a big way. You know, never been that commercial, but they're a delight when you discover them. You know,
yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
They're also, I'll tell you what it is about them as well. It's a bit like, although they're kind of having the second wind now, it's a bit like the Pixies. Some bands, some artists are musicians' favorite bands, right? And you can hear the influence of that artist everywhere, but they weren't necessarily big themselves.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Which is, What would be better for you? It would be making it so that as a household name. Here's a question for you, or the legacy of other artists going, oh, do you know what? I listened to Gramercy Arms album, and that was what started it for me.
Well, at my advanced vintage of years, I'm much more the latter now. But I think if you had asked me, when I was younger, I probably would have said the former.
Make the money.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be. Well, it was really funny. So my old band, the Dambuilders, I think we had a moment where we could have actually had a lot of success in the US. It was one of those things where it was kind of the late 90s, and it's not worth getting into, but just the complexity of the radio, like the mechanism was there. If you had the right song, it blew up at a radio station or two that was important in the United States, and then you had your MTV video. The next thing you knew it, you were on your way. And we were very close to that with a song that was the single on our last album that we made on Elektra. And it's funny because we were, and it didn't happen, but and for what it's worth, there are a lot of people who are like, wow, I don't understand why that single didn't really make it, and whatever. But the funny thing is, I was working a day job where I was teaching English as a second language, and I actually had an Irish boss who said to me, "Do you want to be rich and famous?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sure." And then he said, "Are you sure you really want to be famous? That seems like a pain, like that, And I was like, yeah, I guess you're kind of right. He's like, I just want to be rich. I was like, okay.
I just want to have the money
I didn't
and
say
the
that.
time.
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, but anyway, it was just kind of like a funny thing to hear right as I was like, well, you know, as it didn't happen. And now I kind of think about it, you know, as sort of wisdom from an earlier era. But long answer to your question is, yeah, at this point, I just want to make music that people find inspiring. I mean, I you know, and I when I was younger, I think the thing that one time really blew me away, the very first record that the Dambuilders made, which is in like 1989, 1990. I remember we played a show somewhere in Switzerland, and there was a woman who had a cassette tape of like her, you know, her mixtape that she made for her friends of all of her favorite songs, and there were great artists on it, and one of our songs was on it, and I was like, you know what? That's it. Like, that's kind of the point. You want to impact somebody's life to the point where somebody thinks it's something really special and meaningful to them.
Yeah.
You know, all you can ever, I mean, it's beyond what you can really hope for, actually. Like, if you get to touch anyone in that way, that's great. You know?
Well, here's a question following on from that. Do you think, thinking back to when you were younger and you were making that sort of music, do you think you could have made, when you were that age, the music you're making now? And actually now, at this age, do you think you could have made the music that you were making back then?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I could have made the music I'm making now. I just was in a band that was very much a combination of four very different people. And it's kind of funny. I mean, the people, one of the people that, you know, definitely folks in the UK would know is Joan, who's Jonah's policewoman. And like, we were in a band with like the Kevin March, who's the drummer in Guided by Voices now, and this guy Eric, who doesn't really make music anymore. But the four of us were just kind of going in these. The music that we made together was the music we made together, and it's so different from, I think, what we were all interested in doing at the time. So I wanted to make the music I'm making now. I've always wanted to, and I was kind of on my own. In terms of making the music I made in the past, I need those three people back in my life, because it was just a unique, you know, bit of.
Have you ever thought about reaching out and doing that, or is it gone? Is it beyond?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, I've continued to make music with Joan and Kevin plays drums on all of my records, so that's still going on. And actually, this is the first record that I've made that Joan isn't on, so I intend to change that. It's just she was busy, you know.
She's in the middle of writing a new album herself, isn't she? So
I think so, yeah. And I just saw some, and maybe I'm late to the party, but I just watched some of the Emily Dickinson stuff that she's done, which is beautiful. I don't know if you've heard it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm a massive Jane fan, so I keep up to date. I love how she's kind of, in the last few years, she's brought in sort of more world music type vibe into what she's doing, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Tell us for people that haven't heard, which probably they haven't, because I'm not playing music on this show. I'm just talking to the people that make it. But give us a kind of overview of this album. What sort of sounds are we hearing?
Well, so if people are familiar with the last Gramercy Arms record at all, it's very much a companion piece. It's I kind of did that thing. We did that thing that was sort of like I don't know, like I guess I'm sure lots of artists have done it. The one I kind of always think about is like the Rolling Stones. I think in the early '80s when they made like Emotional Rescue and Tattoo You at the same time or something like that, and they did all the sessions. And this record, so I was speaking of double vinyl and vinyl that you mentioned earlier. This record is going to come out on vinyl. My initial idea, which I'm going to kind of wait and see how it goes, but like I actually thought of this as being the second part of a double album. So
that's
of these two albums. So it is like the previous record, deleted scenes, and then this record, the making of. They were meant to be kind of like 2 albums of a double album, and I was about 90% done with this record, and was kind of toying with how to finish it up. And I actually, so how would I characterize it? It's more, I think I think it's a companion piece in my mind, but I actually like this record a little bit better. It's more of a band record, for one. There's much more people bringing. It's a lot more collaborative. It's a lot more fun. There's a pretty obscure, relatively obscure cover. It's the first time I've put a cover out in years. That was really fun. And yeah, it has I think it has a little more playful kind of vibe, and it's a little less, I mean, to be totally honest, like, kind of and to be sort of name droppy at the same time, but my longtime collaborator, Lloyd Cole, is really good at picking songs and sequencing them. Like, he just has that's one of his special abilities. And I gave him the whole batch of songs, and he was like, "Oh, these ones have to be in that, that this is the ones you should put on the record, and that's deleted scenes." And then I was like, "Well, hang on, all this other stuff is actually, I just really love it." I mean, so for me, it's I hope that comes out, that it's sort of kind of more joyful and more collaborative and just having fun.
He's done a fantastic job, actually. You must congratulate him, because as a listen, it flows so well.
Yeah,
you can't kind of and don't take this in the wrong way, but you kind of almost forget that you're listening.
Oh, that's great.
Well, but great. Do you know what I mean by that? Yeah. In a great way.
No, it is a great way. Yeah, I remember years ago reading this guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's a famous Iranian filmmaker, Kiarostami, and he made I don't know, I think it was what was it? It was like the movie about the it's like a cab driver. Anyway, and he said his goal for making films was to relax people to the point where they might fall asleep. So yeah, I'll take that. That's great.
Yeah, I wouldn't fall asleep necessarily.
If you do, that's great.
Unless I'm really, really tired. And then and I do like to listen to music as I'm falling asleep. But I think what's quite nice is if you get an album. There's 2 different sorts of albums, really, that really, really work as albums. And I think there's ones where you have to listen intently all the way through, and really focus, because it's just so difficult for you as a listener, right? Maybe so orally challenging that you have to go, "Oh my goodness, I don't even know whether I like this."
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
And that's okay. And that's okay, because I think some
of my favorite records are that.
Exactly. And I think too many people give up too early and don't give them a second, third, fourth listen, because you have to, in order to kind of train your ears to be able to like that. Which sounds weird in a way. You think, well, music should be something pleasurable. I should just like it out of the box. But actually, no. To expand your listening, like anything, you have to learn to expand your listening ears. But then there are albums like this where you go, I'm really just enjoying sitting in this.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt when I listened to this album. I just felt, what? Just really makes you feel quite happy. I just feel like I really enjoy just sitting in it and enjoying where the songs moved from one song to another.
I love that. I'm flattered and happy to hear that. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, one of the things people say, it's not an original insight or particularly groundbreaking one, but just back in the day when you bought a record and it was a physical thing and you invested in it. I mean, you can still do it now. It was you kind of had it, and you could not listen to it, or you could go back to it. And if those were difficult albums, you kind of learn to go back to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like I think when I was 13 years old, my uncle gave me a whole bunch of vinyl, and it took me probably about 20 years to really get Verdant Fleece by Van Morrison. Like I was kind of like, oh, okay, the first song's good.
Yeah.
But it took a while, and
Yeah.
it's an interesting record.
Did you even think with that record, is his voice a bit off at times?
Yeah. Like what's happening here? But
this guy's meant to be a great singer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
But the other thing, the thing I was trying to go for a little bit with this record, kind of vibe was I don't know, for some reason I just think about like Faces records. I think about like ones that it just felt like at a certain point they were making records where it's like, well, it's a new year, we've got to go into the studio and make this record, and here are the songs we have, and we're going to put it out. Or like some of the early Fleetwood Mac records, like they're like a statement of like, here's where we are. And like, I think even on one of the Faces record, it actually has that in the liner notes. It's like, well, here we are again. See you next time, next year when we get a batch more songs together.
Yeah.
And I think there's something kind of cool about that.
Yeah, almost like this is my work, Yeah. It's interesting when you say that, because it almost takes it to some extent away from the art form into like, I'm a jobbing musician. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at my output for now. And actually people, that in a way it kind of fits into the modern world, because so actually maybe it's your most contemporary record as well.
Perhaps. Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. In as much as, actually if you think about a lot of the ways that music is kind of released these days, it's almost kind of like, here's a song, got to get this out. This is my next. And younger musicians tend to like focus on singles, and it's kind of like the song, get the traction, do this, do all of that sort of thing. What you've almost done here is say, yeah, that's cool, but I'm this age, so I'm not doing songs. I'm going to do the album, and this is my album.
Yeah.
Go and listen to it now. Thanks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's just a statement of someone a little bit more mature than and that's why I wondered, could you have made this when you were younger?
Yeah. And the answer is probably not. Now that I think about it, it wouldn't have been exactly the same. I mean, the kind of music, but yeah, this kind of album. I mean, and the other thing too is like,
you might have been looking to put more of a spike in there somewhere, just to
maybe
to upset people,
probably. Yeah.
As we all do when we're young, we're kind of like, it's good, but I want people to notice.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the album equivalent of like Miles Davis turning his back on the audience kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe Miles Davis isn't a great example. I'm only saying that because, especially once like Miles got into his more experimental phase, he went experimental. He was trying to.
Yeah,
I think he'd done the whole sort of like, here's a modal album,
right?
Here's I've taken sort of jazz as you would know jazz as far as I could do it. Now I need to reinvent jazz. And
yeah. Although I actually kind of think Bitches Brew has that vibe. Like it's a little bit of like, here we go. And even though it kind of starts with like a snippet of a song that wasn't finished, like it has a little bit of that. I mean, but it is so radical at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely true.
In terms of feel, there's definitely, in terms of feel on this album, there's definitely a lot of feel from the past. There's this album could have been made in the 1970s, couldn't it?
Yes. I think so. I mean, I think like songs like Lux definitely would have been made in the 70s. Yeah, it has a bit of that vibe. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have been playing on it then? If you hadn't have written this album, who would have put this album together in the 70s?
Oh, good question. I mean, so I think, I mean,
I could see Fogerty might have been on there somewhere.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are kind of like, I mean, this is very nerdy, but some sort of late 70s kind of pop rock things, like sort of like the Raspberries, or like, or maybe even like Shoes or something like that, you know. Some of it, but more of it kind of, I don't know, you know, maybe it could have been made in Oklahoma with the dudes who were part of Leon Russell's backing band. I'm not sure. Get Jesse Ed Rogers on it or something. I'm not, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I'll get back to you on that one. But that's, I mean, you know, I think I kind of, I'm almost, it's hard for me to even fight the influence of like Big Star and Fleetwood Mac. You know, like they just kind of like, I don't know. Can't help it. Like they're just so good that it's, you know.
Yeah. Well, Fleetwood Mac, but you certainly wouldn't have wanted to go through all of the divorces and stuff and cocaine.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be nice to be living out on a island in the Bahamas or wherever. Fleetwood.
Yeah, a more kind of sort of screwed on version of Fleetwood Mac, a little less. Yeah.
What I was going to say was the other thing with this album is, because it could actually land you in the fame game, I guess, because it could actually be a really great soundtrack to a movie as well.
Oh wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should make the movie, or get my friend to do it.
You know someone?
Oh, I have a friend. Like one of my oldest friends is a director who's been working on a script for a while. And he's just, I mean, he's done mostly kind of arty films and also commercials, weirdly, but he's a super talented person, and he's actually kind of retired from the world of doing commercial film and wants to make an indie film. So yeah, I'll tell him to do it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You could be in Cannes next year.
Yeah. He actually made a video for a couple of Gramercy albums ago that Joan Wasser and Lloyd are in. It's a video for a song called "Beautiful Disguise" that they sing a duet on, and it's just a gorgeous video, in my opinion. Like, we made it on, you know, for nothing, but it just kind of shows this guy Tryon's talent as a director. It's really pretty, as a great eye.
Well, it's a gorgeous album, and thank you for sharing it with me. This is certainly one that I'll need to get on vinyl, because it sounds like it.
Come down on vinyl, yeah.
It sounds like an album that would sound nice on vinyl as well, if you know what I mean.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, so Ray Ketchem, who, you know, produced and mixed and kind of mastered some of the songs, along with Greg Calby, who is very 70s, by the way, you know, just, I mean, iconic mastering guy. But yeah, we were very conscious of that all the way through. And that was kind of like the last couple of records, we've really been trying to kind of go for that, like, just sort of rich, warm tonality. Yeah. Is
that harder to capture in a modern digital studio, etc.? Is it?
I mean, you have to think about it, but I do think there's you know, it's actually getting easier to do an okay job of it, but it's always challenging to do it well, I guess. Because there's more of there's a plethora of, like, you know, vintage sounding software kind of things, but they really, you know, and in some cases we did things like where we slightly detune the guitars so they would have a sort of natural chorus. You know, that's a very old school kind of technique.
Yeah.
Something people don't want, you know, feel uncomfortable doing, but we tried it to get that kind of, that's something Big Star did a lot. George Harrison did that a lot.
Yeah. Do you still get excited though if you walk in the studio and there's a Vox AC30 in the corner with and a rug?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna like it here.
Yeah. Also, I get excited about deadening the drums. Like that's kind of like one of the most fun things. Like just
yeah. Don't stick MIDI pads on everything. Let's just leave everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and also just the and I think the thing that is really the most important thing is just a lot of live performances of people at the same time, which you just can't replicate that singing and playing at the same time in a room. Like it's music.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing better. There's nothing better.
It really.
I think when for the audio file that knows. When you can hear that like some of the vocal was correct or something like that. It's that the vocals coming through one of the drum mics slightly or something.
Oh,
it's
God,
just great.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like the more like kind of early Rod Stewart thing of like all those songs like Maggie May. It's like, a lot of the drums you're hearing is just coming through, the acoustic mic because it's in the room,
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I think what we've done is a fantastic job today of getting people excited, for the album, but also music. And I think what we've done is we've given people an awful lot of homework to do. So, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So people are not only going to go and check out the album now, but hopefully they'll check out all of our little sort of noodlings away from the album into other areas as well, which is good. So hopefully we've, as Dave said, we may have developed some rabbit holes for you today. Do let us know if you wander down one and what you find along the way. So as you're listening to the album, after the after party, Pilot Light, the making of Alaska, Never Say Anything, Lux, Susan, Don't Respond, She Can Tell, The Long Game. As you listen to all of those tracks, do let us know, where did it take you? Who did you listen to afterwards? That's always an interesting thing. I think every artist would love to know that. What did you listen to after you listened to my album? Where did it then take you? What did you reach for in your record collection, or go, oh, do you know what? Because of that, I haven't listened to that for ages. Wouldn't it be a fascinating thing to set up like a web page of here's my album. What did you listen to next?
I love that.
Well, it's great. Yeah. What a great interactive thing, rather than social media being sort of like, here's my album, share it, tell me if you like it. Wouldn't it be great to have like social media where it's like, you listen to my album, what album did you listen to next? Tell me what you which rabbit hole you went down. I'd love that. It was so much more immersive. We can make, I feel that the opportunity is out there with things like social media these days to make things like that happen. And yet people go the lazy route all of the time. Let's not be lazy. So I'd like to know, when you listen to this the Gramercy Arms album, please do let us know. Tell me, because I do so many of these in the week, I'll completely rubbish at dates. I'll be completely honest. When's the album actually out?
It's April 26th.
April 26th.
Yeah. And there's another single that's out on Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. That
next week anyway.
Yeah, next week anyway. And it's Never Say Anything.
So there you are. Something to whet your appetite, folks.
Indeed.
So do connect on all of the socials. Go and listen to follow on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Actually, because Gramercy Arms are on Bandcamp, go and follow on there and put your email address in so that they can actually keep in touch with you, because that's marvelous. That way you can actually start proper dialogue with, and then you'll know when it's Bandcamp Friday.
And then tell us.
And you can tell us, and you can buy the album then when it's Bandcamp Friday, and then Dave here gets more of the money, which is wonderful. How long after the release is it out on vinyl?
Hoping as close to the release date as possible, but it kind of depends on how long it takes to turn around. But it'll be pretty close. Like I would say, definitely by mid-May at the latest.
Yeah. Is it been mastered? It
has been.
Yeah.
It's just how quick the turnaround time is. I think they kind of manage your expectations to say it's longer than it is. So I'm very hopeful that it will come out on release day, but I can't promise that.
You just have to hope that no global superstar suddenly releases an album and takes all the Just don't do it for a minute, folks. Just wait. Yeah. Let him get the album out. Then you can do whatever you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad we went down a rabbit hole. Folks, do go and check out the album. It's a lovely listen. It'll become like a warm friend to you. The Making of by Gramercy Arms, out in April. Do go and support. And if you've enjoyed this today, go and share this with your friends, etc., so that they can go and listen to the album as well. We hope we've taken you down a little musical journey today, which you will enjoy. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye-bye.